What's going on, traders? Today's day number 3 of the $1,000 account challenge, and I'm down $50 in the account. Literally the worst case scenario played out today, and man, I had a couple of trades get away from me. SPY was a gap up day, and I say the worst case scenario on gap up days is a market that sells totally off, because when you get a gap up, you are naturally looking for the continuation topside. Unfortunately, we don't get that. We just get a V-shaped reversal, and this thing comes all the way back down to the previous day's closing price. Opening dip would have been nice if it got bought, but there was no buy up off of the opening dip. It's just every rally got sold to the point where it is now. So the first trade that I took was on Tesla. Had a long idea on Tesla above $250, but let me show you what I did. I adjusted my trigger level on Tesla to the pre-market highs at 248. So we get a nice run to 250 plus an initial rejection, which is expected to see. And then our plan here was to buy the dip. So I did. I bought that dip and then immediately got stopped out, because what happened was I set an OCO bracket on my trade. That OCO bracket was set too tight, and then Tesla's flex of the contract premium flexed greatly during this lower low, and it stopped me out prematurely. I didn't mean to be stopped out, but I got stopped out. And it was only a $6 loss, so it wasn't that bad. So I was like, you know what? I accidentally got stopped out. Let me just get back in on this trade. But rather than getting in at the bottom of this candle, I think I actually got filled closer to the top, because I wanted to make sure that I was seeing a bounce here. And so my risk off point here was down to 248. Right? That's my stop loss. Potential reward was going to be high of day. So the risk reward here was worth it. We just don't get a bounce back up to the high of day. Tesla falls short, gives us a lower high, and then gives us the lower low, at which point I cut the trade. So in total, I think that this wound up being about a $20 loss between the $6 accidental stop out and this one being about a $14 stop out. I try to keep my losses at about $10. This one got, just got a little out of hand with the extra $6 added on there. So no big deal. This is just a trade that didn't work. Ultimately does work on a reclaim of 248, but I'm not touching it at that time because I was in on another trade. That's going to be on NVIDIA. Now, NVIDIA was a long idea above your pre-market highs, which is around $114, right? So we get the opening run up to 116 plus. Now, I was looking to take a dip entry at $115 here when this dipped down, but this got bought up so quick that by the time it got bought up, I was like, oh, I don't want to chase this move here. So let me just wait and see if we're going to get another dip. So we do. We get another dip test of 115, but then I was like, well, let me make sure that this isn't going to give us a lower high. And it does. And we get another test of 115. I was like, okay, maybe it's going to break 115. And it doesn't. It holds. So now I'm looking at this as a break of the downtrend trend line. Maybe this is going to print higher. So on the fourth retest of 115, look, we have 115 bounce hold, 115 bounce hold, 115 bounce hold, 1, 2, 3 holds of 115 in the bounce. When we get that fourth retest, I'm like, yep, let me take the entry because I feel like this is going to go. So I actually got a pretty decent entry. This is not bad. Pretty decent entry. It does dip lower and a hold through. We get the move up. I'm back to break even in green. It's just this trade took so long. The consolidation took forever that theta was burning my premium this entire time. So what's different between these bounce moves is this is a nice bounce here. Very quick, very momentum. You get the quick direction. This is a quick bounce here. This is a quick bounce here. This bounce, it's choppy. You get the move up, you get the move down. You get the move up, you get the move back down. You get the move up and then follow through, but not big moves up, just little inching moves up. So by the time that, look, I'm taking the entry here, right? By the time that this trade gets all the way to this peak at 116, theta had ate up so much premium on my contracts that I was not even up 10% on this trade. I did have an opportunity to close this trade at break even. I did have an opportunity to close this trade for some profit that would have made up some of the Tesla loss, but not enough. And then we get the sell-off, hard rejection here at 116, at which point, this is my mistake. I probably should have just cut this trade right there. I think that I probably still could have gotten out at that time at break even. But I wanted to say, I was like, you know what? It's held so many times. Let me just see if it's going to hold another time. So I gave this too much room. This is my mistake. I should have cut this trade way earlier than what I did, but I gave it room all the way back down to 115. And then not only that, but slightly through 115. And I do make the right decision by cutting it at 115 rather than holding through, because it continues to sell even further. So this loss could have been much more than what it was. But the risk management here on these trades just wasn't there for me today. So I wound up taking $50 loss in the account challenge, which wipes out my gains previously from the past 2 trading days and puts me now red on the challenge rather than green. So I got some work to do. I'm not super stressed about it because I know that if I can trade well and take 2 to 3 winning trades, I can make all of this loss back up and put the account back on green. But it is a hiccup, and it's going to take me maybe, who knows, all of next week to do that. Now, last week when we ran the practice account challenge, I was able to make $50 in the account over the course of a week. So being down 40, if I trade well next week, I know that I can make that money back. And that was being conservative last week, by the way. I know that I can make that money back. So it's not the end of the world, but it is a setback. And I think just moving forward from here, it means that I need to be a little more conservative. I am going to stay away from trading Tesla because what happened today with me taking these contracts so far out of the money, when you take these contracts and you get moves in your favor, they tend to not, like you tend to need much bigger moves out of the stock because you have such a lower delta. But when the stock moves against you, those contracts, that premium really drops. And that's just the way that it is. So I think with me having to go so far out of the money on Tesla contracts to make sure that I'm managing my risk, that it actually hurts me rather than helps me. So moving forward, and I noticed this during the account challenge practice week too, I should have just stuck to my word during that week when I said I wasn't going to trade Tesla anymore. But moving forward, I'm going to stay away from Tesla for the time being until I build up enough profit margin in the account to be able to afford contracts closer to the money. So this video today, I didn't want to be making this video. Obviously, it is slightly embarrassing, but the beautiful thing about this challenge is that I'm going to be 100% transparent with you. I'm going to show you all the wins. I'm going to show you all the losses. I'm going to show you the good, the bad, the ugly. I'm going to show you all the mistakes, everything. I'm going to walk you through everything. I will be 100% transparent with this throughout the duration of this challenge. I am highly confident in my ability to make that money back. But like I said, it may just take a little bit, so you got to stay patient with me. There is just as much to be learned from the losses, if not more, to be learned from the losses than there are from the wins. While it's a losing day, I still did learn something from today's trades, and I hope that you did too. Thank you so much for your support and following along during this $1,000 account challenge. I do hope to perform better in the future, but time will tell. And as we go through the beginning stages of this challenge, we are learning and growing together. Again, thank you for your time. Take care and enjoy the rest of your day. And I will see you tomorrow when we continue the $1,000 account challenge. Cheers.